Speaking of which, Debra Tate's coming in to talk about the California, the Golden State Killer and the fact that the moratorium against death penalties. She's very upset about this. We'll get into that.
It's Dr. Drew, Midday Live with Leanne Tweeden, and you can get it right now.
Indeed, you can. It is Midday Live. Leanne Tweeden, Dr. Drew. Our number here is 800-222-5222. In just a minute, we'll be speaking with victims advocate Debra Tate in just a second. All right. On the heels of our governor putting a moratorium on the death penalty, we are speaking with Debra Tate. Debra is the victims advocate on the death penalty. You can follow her at notparoleformansonfamily.com or on Twitter at Debra_Tate9. Debra, welcome.
Thank you.
So what do you think? What have you done so far? What do you think of our governor? What should people do if they feel strongly about this?
People need to contact the governor's office, and that is readily available, his contact information on the internet to the general file. But I need the public to understand that this isn't the first time that we've faced this. Back in 1970, after a total of 13 trials where all of the Manson families were convicted to death, with admitted participation in multiple murders, Rose Bird and Jerry Brown did the same thing. With the swipe of a pen, overrode voter opinion and abolished the death penalty. This resulted in parole hearings for these individuals that were supposed to die 7 years after they committed their criminal offenses. This is exactly what has just transpired again in the state of California.
So are we going to see people... Go ahead.
Yes. The governor made a statement on television that he and the people behind him did not feel that this was appropriate. Well, I need to challenge that because the majority of Californians just voted a couple of years ago. This was addressed, and we once again voted for the death penalty.
Yeah.
So why should him and a couple of people standing behind him on the stage override the opinion of all the citizens in the state of California?
Well, technically, I support leaders doing whatever they feel they need to do, particularly if it's a moral issue. But we as voters can go get him out. I mean, why do we put him in there in the first place? Should there be some sort of a recall?
Come on, Dr. Drew. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago when this happened. He, on the campaign trail, said on this particular issue, I will not overturn the decision of my constituents. And that we voted twice. And the last time was to actually speed up. Twice we voted on this narrowly, but it passed twice. So I say he's a liar.
He's a liar, and for that he should be recalled. No? Anybody?
I think that he at least needs to address his why he recanted his opinion and seek out once again the public opinion, which once again for sure is going to override this decision. Again and again and again, the voters in California, the majority, states that they would like to keep the death penalty and even speed it up, as we voted on the last time. So, I do not believe that he has the right to override the majority for the opinion of the few.
So the California, what's the Golden State Killer and Scott Peterson, are these all guys we're going to see getting parole?
Exactly. They will be standing in my shoes. Not only that, I know for a fact by talking to many district attorneys that other repeat criminals are now coming to the state of California to commit their crime. If you don't pay attention to the statistics that the police departments put out, because politically they're obligated to do what they're told, even though it irks them deeply, and you watch the evening news, the people being our crime level is being shot up at unbelievable speed. Molestations, killings, home robberies, carjackings, all of it is going up at unbelievable speeds. I just don't even know what we're thinking. I don't know what our leaders are thinking.
Well, that is a thought I have 20 times each show, 20 times every afternoon. I've got some update on the gravely disabled thing, that they're just absolutely categorically want the homeless to be left alone to die on the streets. Well done, California.
It's not right. It's not right. We need to take care of those that are not being able to take care of themselves.
Exactly.
And those that cannot get along in a free society and cause harm to other individuals need to be segregated. Now, the death issue, some people are for and some people are not. I personally am for it because I would rather have that money go to schooling children. The only proven cure for criminality is education. That's my personal belief.
I would add to that, and the school often provides this, a sustained relationship, positive relationship outside of the home with an adult.
Right.
That's the other thing. And schools do provide, the heroes that teach our kids do that. But, so Deborah, do you want people to do anything in particular? Again, I like our system, and we do have recall mechanisms. He lied to us to get in, so you wouldn't have voted for him, perhaps, or somebody wouldn't have voted for him.
But think about it, right? I mean, California is pretty left and very progressive, and it's like, why would a governor who you knew was going to win by a landslide anyway have to even feel like he had to lie to his constituents when he was going to win anyways? Obviously, that means a lot of the people who feel this way were people that were going to vote for him anyways. That meant that he had to lie to those people.
And Leanne, remember Gelman amnesia? Maybe this is just one example. Maybe there are others. We're just not aware of it.
Exactly.
Remember that?
That's a possibility. But I think recall is something we should definitely consider, and I would like.
It's hard and it's expensive, and somebody has to head it.
What I don't understand, I watching. These days, watching some of the Senate hearings, the House hearings, and our own state of California, the behavior of our leaders, who do they work for? Who in the hell do these people work for?
They are supposed to work for the people, but that is not, it's very clear that is not what's going on at
Please.
This point in
you
history.
think Gavin Newsom thinks he works for us? Give me a break.
No way.
No.
Well, I think
no.
They become paternalistic. I think they work for us, and they're going to show us how we ought to live, and bring these young children to heel that they know best how to deal with.
Yeah.
And there is nothing scarier than that. Nothing.
Thank you.
And here we
are. I
are.
believe that we could make a start by contacting our individual representatives in all of the various counties and letting them know how we feel about this.
Yeah, well, actually,
that's a start.
The Orange County DA, Todd Spitzer, is actually taking up for the families who are, victims of murder justice. He's doing a tour and traveling around to all 80 Assembly and 40 Senate districts on behalf of the families of victims that are affected by this moratorium.
I have interfaced with Todd Spitzer in the past. I actually invited him to sit in on a Manson family parole hearing so that he could see firsthand the fiasco that takes place within the hearing room.
So at least there is one person that's trying, on behalf of the people.
One, but you have to
exactly.
educate each one. You have to educate them firsthand. I mean, they didn't believe that things were being handled the way they are now unless they witnessed it. We all have a preconceived conception that the powers that be are there to protect us, and that is not what's going on today. So I'm here to tell you that we have to take the reins back again. We need to drive the political machine in a direction to enforce our will and what we believe is best for us.
Give us a call, 800-222-5222. We'd like your opinion on this. Of course, we're speaking to victims advocate Debra Tate. That last name is the same name as Sharon Tate, which was her sister, of course. And since that tragedy, she has been an active victims advocate. You can follow her at Debra_Tate9 or go to noparoleformansonfamily.com. We're talking about Governor Newsom's moratorium on the death penalty. Is he going to take some sort of legislative action to undo the death penalty? In other words, is the moratorium just a temporizing thing while he does something more permanent? Or can he just hold the moratorium as long as he wants?
Didn't he try to disassemble a chamber?
Yes,
he was taking it apart. No, we're not going to do that here.
So what's he going to do next?
It was effective for Jerry Brown. It was effective when Rose Bird wrote it into law that it was permanently abolished. But his opinion was first to put on a moratorium while more permanent effect. And that effect being Rose Bird saying this is cruel and unusual punishment, took it off the law books until the very next people's election when the people put it back on.
Does anybody remember how problematic Rose Bird was, and took the state 15 years to recover from some of the shenanigans?
Cruel and unusual punishment. What about the cruel and unusual punishment of people that murder people and do ungodly things to people? What about those people? What about the punishment they deserve?
Exactly. And in my personal opinion, I mean, this is kind of wild and reckless, but I'm going to just throw it out there for people to think about. Why do we go through these trials? A death penalty trial or a life in prison trial roughly costs $2 million to try. Why do we go through these kind of trials and spend this kind of money on the police, detective work, the DA work, et cetera, just to give them a slap on the hand and 7 years later turn them loose so that they can repeat it again?
Well, that's an interesting way of thinking about it, too, which is, 800...
they're letting them loose on dollars and cents. So let's take the dollars and cents down to the bottom line.
800-222-5222, Victims Advocate Debra Tate on the moratorium on the death penalty by Governor Newsom. And please call if you agree with Governor Newsom. We'd love to hear from you. 800-222-5222. Deborah's happy to take that on as well. Oh, and so Deborah, I'm still not entirely clear what you want folks to do. Is there other than sort of harassing the governor's office? I'm not sure that will do anything. I mean, he just doesn't care.
Harassing the governor's office is not going to do that much. That's why I recommend anything that the governor does is under scrutiny by the Senate. And unless they know, Senate and Congress knows the constituents' feelings, when these things come up on a more permanent level, they can block. They can say, no, the majority of my constituents are not on board with this, therefore I am not going to vote yay. I am going to vote nay. And perhaps we can cut it off on the in the making, so to speak, before this becomes a permanent
bill.
Exactly.
Yeah, permanent law.
Exactly.
What do you say?
And that's really the only thing we can do.
What do you say when Gavin Newsom says, I'm putting a moratorium on this because what about an innocent person if they're put to death? But don't you, I mean, isn't it an exhaustive process to put somebody to death? They have exhausted how many appeals, and a lot of times these guys have admitted to their murders.
That is correct. That's absolutely correct. I speak at parole hearings not only for the victims of the Manson family. I was the first person appointed to speak under Marcy's law at many parole hearings for people that just are terrified to face their perpetrators or the people that killed their family members. Of course, the actual victims are dead, but there's the second ring of victims, which are the living family. I will go and represent these people. And let me tell you, when you sit in, you listen to the psych report and what they have done, other infractions, and look them in the eye, you get a good feeling whether they are or are not guilty. I have actually been in a couple hearings of young individuals that Well, one person in a gang fight actually stabbed somebody in the heart, and that person died. He was so young. He was acting recklessly, fighting over a girl with a few guys. This young man, you could tell, had genuine remorse in his heart. He had genuine purpose and had already been in prison for 15 years. And I told him if he did a little more work, that I could see him being a productive person in society. In the case of the Manson family members...
Wait, Deborah, I got to interrupt you. Yeah. We're going to keep it going after the break here. You can pick up with, in the case of the Manson family members and how different they have been. This is Debra Tate, Victims Advocate. We are 800-222-5222. We'll also be taking your calls up to the break. It's Leanne Tweeden, Dr. Drew. It's Midday Live at AM 790 KBC. 800-222-5222 is the phone number. Midday Live, Leanne Tweeden, Dr. Drew. We're speaking to Debra Tate, Victims Advocate, and you were just about to say something about the Manson family being different than this other case you heard recently.
Yes, the Manson family, let's take the most recent hearing I attended on the 30th of January. Leslie Van Houten, who has gotten numerous parole dates, who has led in prison pretty much a infraction-free history. Well, what else would I expect? There are people with guns. I am so proud and happy that she's managed to do something with her life. But this is a woman that is still attracted and had a 16-year relationship with another man in another state who was incarcerated and found guilty in 2 states of multiple women with knives. Does this story sound familiar?
Right.
In 2016 parole hearing, she admitted that it was a romantic relationship. However, in 2018, she said it was professional because they were both editors on a newspaper. In other words, what I'm saying is, in that parole hearing, we need to look at the big picture, and us as society needs to look at the big picture, and our politicians need to look at the big picture. Are there people who could be trusted in a free society never to repeat their crime again because they're not cold-blooded killers or predatory killers? Yes. And those people usually, if they're letting out serial killers, of course those individuals are going to get out. The fact of the matter is that most individuals in the entire United States who are condemned to die actually die of old age prior to a death sentence because our appeal system is ridiculously long. I mean, they get chance after chance after chance after chance.
Yeah, what's the average? How long does it take for somebody to be put to death?
And then we're going to have to leave it after that. Real quick, Deborah, how long?
Actually, I believe it's in excess of 47 years.
Oh, my gosh.
Each state is different.
All right, we're going to have to...
Slightly different.
All right, Deborah, thank you so much. Again, it's Debra_Tate9 and no parole for MansonFamily.com. We'll talk to you soon, Deborah.
Thank you.
All right, you got it.